string of the Speed Metal Kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage with the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Auburn versus Mercer is completed. The football game, the 11th one of the season, is all wrapped up for the Auburn Tigers. This is going to be our post-game reaction show. The score, the stats, the storylines, all that's coming up right now. Well, War Eagle, everybody, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we discuss, share the Auburn experience, which is all about, to us, Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it, though, is if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing today here in our live reaction show, Auburn versus Mercer. The Auburn Tigers are victorious in their 11th game of the season, 62-17, is part of the reason why we're doing this one so late, because we were at Toomer's Corner having just a good old time. We're going to get through the usual stuff here, the stats, the individual stats, the team stats, the storylines amongst all of that, and a little bit of commentary from you all as is appropriate throughout the stream. So come on in, especially if you're watching live, if you're watching on the replay, you can obviously interact in the comments. We want to hear from you and discuss this game, quite the spectacle we saw today versus Mercer on both teams today. Got a little bit of interesting time. We'll talk about all those different angles. Try not to miss any of it. This is our first reaction to it after all, so we're probably going to miss a few things. What you can do for us, for those of you that are watching live, smash the like button. Do that for us. Hit the share button as well if you're watching on social media. If you're on the replay or catching the audio version of this, you can do that in a variety of different ways. Anything you can do like that to help us continue to build our little family within the Auburn family, that's a huge help to us. So please do that for us if you can, and let us know that if you're here live. Some of you are already doing a great job of announcing your presence and letting us know that you're here hanging out with us today. Some familiar faces. Good to see all of you here today. Now, let's get some opening commentary here. Boy, Deuce Knight had a day. That's the understatement of the day. That is going to be the majority of what you all want to talk about. That is going to be the majority of the celebration. And that is also, if you've been here before, you've known I'm a bit of a contrarian at times, and I try not to be that just for the sake of being contrarian, only to keep things within context. The overreaction about this as well. Seen a lot of very stupid takes about, anyway, we won't get into that quite yet, but we do need to celebrate Deuce Knight and what he was able to accomplish today. Some great plays by Cam Coleman, great plays on defense. Listen, this was fun. Let me start off, though, continuing to try to do better about this. Mercer Bears is a pretty good football team, given their level of talent and competition that they're at. One of the best teams of FCS, and unfortunately, we were just a little bit too much for them today, although it looked like it earlier in the game that the Auburn Tigers might have been in just a little bit of trouble to start off. I am very thankful that we are sitting here today. And, with a win, not talking about a surprising, very disappointing loss to Mercer, because let's be honest, a lot of us got a little bit worried when they went up 14-7 in the first quarter. And it looked like the defense was going to struggle just a little bit. But here we are, victorious 62-17. The offense has 2 great games in a row, and the defense, while had struggles at the beginning, they've certainly not had their biggest and best games. That's just kind of the wafting overview of all of this. I know the majority of you want to discuss the Deuce Knight, and WT said it best: start the week of overreactions about Knight. All right, as we'll go throughout the stream, we'll bring up anything that's appropriate. Let's go through the stats here. We'll start with the individual stuff. Let's just go ahead and knock it out right here at the start of this thing. If I don't talk about Deuce Knight enough, y'all are going to kill me. Deuce Knight on the day, passing-wise, 15 for 20, 239 yards of passing, and 2 touchdowns. 75% completage. 208 is his passer rating. Pretty dang good. That's an outstanding day for him just passing the ball. Jackson Arnold had an okay day, 3 of 5. He didn't get a ton of opportunities. This was Deuce Knight's day, 31 yards for 60% completions, 112 was his passer rating. Now, look, we do need to spend a little bit of time on the receivers. We'll get there in just a second, but we will need to talk about the other element of not only Deuce's game, but Jackson's game as well. And then this surprising turn of events rushing today. And I don't know if I'm missing a little bit of, some context with why certain players were not utilized and others were, because today a lot of people were really hoping to see Jeremiah Cobb not only have another 100-yard day, but he was 96 yards coming into the day away from breaking 1,000. He only gets 32 today on 12 carries for an average of 2.7. There was not a lot of running room for him. This was not a strong day for the offensive lines providing room for the running backs. However, the quarterbacks were able to make plays with their feet and then some. 5 total rushing touchdowns on the day is from the quarterbacks alone. Deuce Knight, here's his stats. 9 rushing attempts, 162 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, a long of 75, and he averaged 18 per carry. Definitely no one was going to outdo him, but Jackson Arnold also just said, here, hold this for me. 3 carries for 53 yards. His longest is that 56 for a touchdown. He did take a couple of sacks. That's why that's a little bit discrepant. There's some discrepancy there for an average of 17.7. So while the rushing game today was not what we expected or what we thought we were going to see, it was very impressive, a la the running back. So credit goes obviously to Deuce. Humongous day, what tied a record for most touchdowns he's responsible for. I think that's Cam's record, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he tied that record. But the rushing game today was outstanding. And some of these were really tough rushes. Like he got spun around, had to stay on his feet, had to outrun a couple people, had to keep the stride for 70-something yards. And so really strong there. Happy to see Jackson got his moment as well in that. So big day rushing for the quarterbacks. The running backs, though, was a little bit odd. Now, somebody has obviously brought up Jones had some spunk to him. Now, we're talking about Justin Jones. He got quite a few carries today, at least. Let me check the numbers here. Justin Jones, 6 carries for 35 yards, a long of 5.8 per carry. So we didn't get to see Omar Mabson or anything, or Darrell Robinson or anything like that. So I don't know if there's anything going on there, or this was just the plan all along. Happy to see that he got that being Justin Jones, some opportunities as he's been here for a long time, paying his dues. He had a little bit of spunk, a little bit of fire. He didn't want to be stopped. Jeremiah today, it was kind of a little bit of a different look to him, feel to him. And I don't know if that was by design or something was going on. Some people said they saw him kind of look like he was a little gimped up after the first couple of drives. Who knows? But the rushing game today for the individuals, running backs, fine. Some not great, fine. The quarterbacks, though, absolutely outstanding. So this is Sam. I think this is the one tied Cam's record set in 2010, the SEC championship game. I thought that's what the game was, but I wasn't 100% certain. So we'll take Sam's word for it. I guess we can. Some of you already wanted to move on to Iron Bowl. We're stuck on this game right now. Y'all gonna have to hold your horses just a little bit. Everybody just chill. We're almost done with the Mercer game, and we'll put this one away, but we got a little bit more to go through. Let's talk about the receivers, because certainly it was all about the rushing attack, at least the quarterback rushing attack to start the game. Then the receivers got involved. Malcolm Simmons, have yourself a day. 5 catches for 149 yards, 1 touchdown, that long of 91 from Deuce. He got 7 targets on the day, 72 yards after catch. I mean, outstanding day. I didn't ask you guys at the start of the stream, but I would really love to know, who is your player of the game? That's kind of reminding me there. I think it's Deuce, but if you'd like to give a shout out or something like that to somebody who deserves it, certainly I think Malcolm is someone that you need to look at. One of the things that I always loved about Malcolm is not only he's just a good traditional wide receiver in the skill set sense, but he also has a lot of versatility to him and how he can make plays after the catch. So really like what we saw out of him today. I was excited to see, someone other than Cam and Eric Singleton have the big days. Now they certainly, especially Cam, had the big days as well. So the receivers, everybody else, Cam Coleman, 5 catches for 65 yards, 1 touchdown. I still don't know how he caught that one. I saw Clint Richardson, our friend of the show, after the game, and he had a better vantage point to it and said he thought it was just a really good throw. I thought it was actually a bad throw, and then somehow Cam just pulled it out in between the guy's arms. And I was just saying, that's just Cam Coleman, y'all. He continues to do it when you give him opportunities to do so. Great day for the wide receivers overall. Eric Singleton, 4 catches for 27 yards. Perry Thompson gets one early. Jeremiah Cobb with a good catch and a bailout on one drive with Jackson. Preston Howard gets the throw. Justin Jones gets in there as well. But the leaders of the day are Malcolm Simmons and Cam Coleman, primarily Malcolm Simmons. 7 total receivers on the day. Pretty dang good. I find very little to be upset with, especially on the offensive side of things. Austin and I will talk about this on the Auburn Experience show, what our grades will be, because we don't want to just hand out grades right here sitting at the end of this with just the emotions and the reactions of everything. Let it digest for a little bit. But there's some individual stats for the offense. Let's look at the defense. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new leader in tackles, although he's been number 2 the entire season pretty much. Robert Woodyard with 8 total tackles on the day, 7 of those solo. Kayan Lee with 6. Nice to see him up there. Caleb Harris had a pretty dang good day. 4 total tackles. 2 of them were solo. He has the interception as well. I think he laid a couple of really good licks. So his stat line looks very good to me. Caleb Falk, brother of Keldrick. And I think Keldrick actually got injured in the first drive. I don't really know the status of him. But he's up there with 4 total tackles. Eric Winters with 4. Chris Murray, Jacquez Robinson, Elijah Melendez. How about his interception? Xavier Atkins, Malik Autry, and Jamison Travis with all of the 3 tackles. And then there's a bunch with 2 and 1. I won't go through every single one, but that gives you quite the perspective. Looking at who was the most impressive across the board, obviously you go look at total tackles. Robert Woodyard's leading the way there. You've got, as I talked about, Caleb Harris with his stat line. But then you go down and you remember Elijah Melendez had that acrobatic, maybe acrobatics a little bit playing it up, but it was pretty cool. Let's just be honest. Had to reach back and get that ball. There was a fumble recovery as well. Who got that fumble recovery? Let's see if we can figure that out really quickly. That was Chris Murray. So big days for everybody. Zacchaeus Walker had a quarterback hurry. So did Xavier. Individually, you're going to see a lot of good things there. Corey with a great call out here. Sylvester Smith got the targeting call, which means he'll be out for the first half of Alabama, if I have our rules correct, which I think I do. So it's a pretty decent loss if that's going to actually play out that way. I don't know if they can review it or anything like that. I actually wasn't really paying attention that much when they even played it up on the replay board because, this game was in hand. We're all kind of doing some other things, managing at that point. But that could be a significant enough roster alteration that has to happen. A couple more individual stuff, and then we'll look at the team stats. Today for special teams, we're looking at Hudson with 2 punts, 79 yards, 39.5 average, a long of 41, one inside the 20. No really big returns on the day, but Alex McPherson, I think, once again steals the show on the special team side of things. He has 2 field goals in the fourth quarter when drive stalled out finally. Distance of 47 and 49, both are good. And you could really tell how elated he felt and his team felt for him hitting that 49-yarder, because I think that's his longest since all of the issues. I could be wrong. Maybe he has already done a 49er, but I think 47 or 48 was about the limit before that. So that was just like another stepping stone, it felt like, of him and his recovery, getting back to his normal self after that horrendous game that he had in the middle of the season. Just great. I was really excited. The fans were really excited about that. On that note, while I'm thinking about it, just feel good moments. Did you guys see, I hope you saw, that Brian Battie was here and being honored for senior day. What a great moment that was. I actually got to see him. He walked by me, and I wanted to kind of pat him on his shoulder and tell him how much we loved him, but he was with his family. I didn't want to disturb them when he was leaving from the stadium. But it was great to see Brian Battie here, all smiles after what he's been through and his family's been through. We all needed that a little bit, and to see that he was at least doing as well as can be given his new life circumstances. And I agree, WT, very classy move for Auburn. But I mean, we don't expect anything less, but also, the fact that Brian wanted to come back and not only finish and be a senior, but also that he values being back here. So I think that speaks to the realness of that relationship. So another great moment on the day that's not even about the game, anything like that. All right, so here is where we get into the nitty gritty of it. Let's look at some team stats. Now, we can come back to a few more of these individual things here if we need to. I'm saving a couple just in case we haven't touched on a few of those, so you guys can bring those up that are watching live if there's something, a moment, good or bad, that we need to bring up. I think we all recognize the defense as a whole was very scary at the start of it, and we really didn't like it all that much. Mercer has a pretty dang good offense, given all the context, FCS, but they're still pretty good. You could see that they were very confident out there. They weren't too intimidated by the moment, at least offensively, and got a 14-7 lead. So kudos to them. Here's your total yards, though. 338 for Mercer, 547 for Auburn. Outstanding day. Passing yards, Auburn's favor, 223 to 270. Rushing yards, very much in Auburn's favor, 115 to 277. I mean, duh, when you've got both your quarterbacks rushing, it's just, you're just going to tear them up. Absolutely tear them up a little bit. So that's all of your total yards there. Penalties on the day, 2 for Mercer, 4 for 40 for Auburn. Okay, obviously we want less than that, but 4 for 40 on the day is a far cry from what it has been. Auburn wins first downs by a few. Third downs, they are definitely more efficient, 7 of 11 compared to Mercer's 8 of 19, and that really took a dip in the second half for them. They did get their 1 4th down, that being Mercer. I want to give credit to Mercer. They did not seem intimidated by the moment. They were unafraid and really willing to take some risk, and that 4th down paid off for them. They ran 77 plays. We ran 56. Makes sense, obviously, because we're trying to down the ball at the end of the game. They're trying to get back in it. We win in average yards per play. We win in average yards per completion, average yards per rush, pretty significantly in all of those categories. That makes sense. Red zone, both teams are efficient each time that they were in there. Here's the crazy discrepancy right here. And it makes sense because Auburn was scoring so quick when they did. Like, they'd score and then they'd be off the field. And then at the end, they're not, I guess, trying as hard. But the time of possession, 37-20 for Mercer, 22-40 for Auburn. I don't remember it being that long of a possession for time for Mercer, but I guess it actually was. That's a big stat discrepancy there. Turnovers, 3 for them, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble, which was lost and picked up by Chris Murray. 2 sacks for both teams, and 7 tackles for loss for Mercer, and 6 for Auburn. So that is all of your individual team stats. We did offense, defense, special teams as well. The biggest thing that we want to make sure that we spend any time on, is there anything else from this Mercer game that we need to discuss, digest, think about before we move on? We'll give maybe a little bit of commentary about Alabama coming up, because I know y'all are just itching to move on that. Like, one of the biggest things this week was fighting people. Focus on Mercer. Just focus on Mercer, please. But we're finally to that point where we can start talking about that just a little bit. There were some questions about Brian Battie and what happened from viewers who weren't aware of it. It looks like y'all very cleared that up for them very well. We're very thankful that he's still with us, and that we're able to celebrate him today the way that we are. Let's see here. This is from WT Knight, tied Cam and Cadillac for the most touchdowns in a single game at 6. So I guess Cam's was in the SEC championship game, and then Cadillac with his 6. I think, if I'm not mistaken, is that the Syracuse game for Cadillac? I could be wrong. That's the one I always talk about. That's like my outlier of favorite games that I've been to. Triple overtime, I think, is what it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What a great day for Deuce Knight. I mean, he is the story of the day, and absolutely outstanding game for him. Now, let me do that just a bit here. Let's talk about context. In no way should we be trying to like seriously downplay what Deuce accomplished today, but we also need to pepper everything we can with context, with reality. You know, I see comments like Deuce Knight should have been starting all along. Well, no, that's just stupid, because the dude, obviously, when we saw him in spring, when we'd see some clips of him, when he even got in earlier in the year, he was still struggling in some areas. And I saw early in the game too that he was doing a lot of the same things, throwing real too tight into some windows. You got to take some risks, but there are sometimes you're just taking a few too many, throwing a little bit behind receivers at times. But he does have a really nice zip on the ball. So he's still a freshman, but he is a freshman phenom. As we saw, both things are true, a freshman phenom. So please, obviously, I know our audience is the most well-informed audience out there, but when you see these people out there that are just saying ridiculous things like he should have been starting all along, you know, how dare we not play him? Like, you're talking about Mercer. Mercer is a good football team given their level, as we've already talked about, and obviously gave Auburn a little bit of a scare to start off with, as I'm not surprised by, but it's still Mercer. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what your backups are supposed to be able to do. And I'm just thankful we got an opportunity to see Deuce Knight, because everybody's been itching to see this for, you know, weeks and weeks and months now at this point. And so hopefully that satisfies some at the very least. Digest that it was just Mercer. Fans do not need to go crazy like they did when we beat Alabama A&M. Yeah, there was some interesting times during all of that. So if there's anything else that we need to discuss, please do drop it into the chat, and we'll certainly talk about it. But I think we've hit most of your high points there. Maybe some commentary about Alabama to round out our time. I don't have the cue cards ready for you, but folks, gear up this week. We got a lot of stuff to do. We've got basketball on Monday and Tuesday, and probably Wednesday. We will try to do an Auburn family night for you guys on Wednesday, but that will be determined by when the Wednesday basketball game, which has a TBD time right now, depending on how the first two games work out. So that could alter there too. Just keep in mind, it is the holiday season. I will be traveling, going to see family, so I'll be on the road some. So I hope you guys will understand that everything that we're talking about here for the week ahead is tentative. We're going to do our best to get that stuff out to you. All kinds of content out there already on our social media accounts from today in Auburn, and more to come. So we got the band show. We got everything coming out. Check it out. I think you're going to have a great time if you're following all our social media content network stuff out there. So make sure you are following and subscribed everywhere that you can be. All right. While you're thinking about some last minute comments, questions, let me just kind of address the elephant in the room. And we're not talking about Micah. I guess we are kind of. Yes, the Elephants are invading Jordan-Hare and Auburn, Alabama next week for the first night game in Jordan-Hare in 18 years. Wow. I'm so excited for next week. At this moment, I do not have a ticket to the game. I'm still working on that. Anybody got hookups? I'm still open to them. But I will be here on campus. I hope that you can come to campus and just experience a full game day of the Iron Bowl. It is going to be raucous. It is going to be filled with smelly Alabama fans, which have probably more teeth than brain cells. Sorry, I'm getting already ahead of myself here. I know we're all excited about it, and we're going to focus as much as we can on that this week. Amongst all the other things that have been going on in the Auburn experience, we are excited for the Iron Bowl. It is the greatest rivalry in sports, period. Over, said, done with, and I can't wait to be back here on campus talking about it. Can the Auburn Tigers get bowl eligible and spoil the playoff picture for Alabama? Can Alabama secure their playoff picture and the SEC title appearance as well? So much on the line, so much to play for, just even with the fact that it's the Iron Bowl. It is going to be awesome. Oh, hello, D. Thank you so much for that. We are in conversations about that, and I'm actually in conversations with multiple people. But yes, we're all trying to figure out how to get Mr. Kyle into the game for a reasonable price. But thank you guys for all of you that continue to look out for me in that way. Devin's heading to town. So let me just say this too. Austin and I are going to talk. We may try to do something to just say like, hey, we're going to be here in kind of not a tailgate, but like a spot. But I don't know exactly when, how, if it's going to work out. Let me just go ahead and guarantee that I will be at Tiger Walk unless there's some other family issue or anything like that I can't be there. So I will be at Tiger Walk in front of the banner. Come join us. I will probably be sitting there an hour and a half for the Iron Bowl. So come hang out, talk, and that's a great place to meet me, definitely, and be hanging out for the greatest rivalry in sports. With that being said, folks, it looks like we have covered what y'all want to discuss. Auburn versus Mercer, 62-17. I think it's fair to say Deuce Knight gets the player of the game with his outstanding day, tying records of most touchdowns responsible for in a game. 4 rushing, 2 passing. Cam Coleman had a great pass as well. Great defensive performances by individuals, and Alex McPherson too. So much to be excited about. The stat that I tried to find a stat in there that maybe sticks out the most, but it doesn't really tell the tape. It's just the fact that there's so much discrepancy in the time of possession. Either way, great day for the offense. Defense got it together over time. We're excited, folks. It's the best time of the year. Iron Bowl time. Get ready. Auburn versus Mercer in the books. 62-17. Your Auburn Tigers are victorious. Thank you for tuning in, being part of our little family within the Auburn family. And as we go, I want to remind you of these things. The Auburn Creed asks you to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.